But behind her calm expression lies something Andrew never expected. Millie's past taught her how to fight, and she refuses to become another one of his trapped victims. 8. The escape, a turn of power. The escape plan is risky, terrifying, and almost impossible. Nina distracts Andrew at critical moments while Millie slowly collects evidence and makes preparations. Cecilia, traumatized but brave, also plays her part. The final confrontation erupts when Andrew grows suspicious and enters Millie's attic room unexpectedly. A violent struggle follows, filled with raw desperation and fear. Millie fights with everything she has, her strength, her trauma, her rage at years of exploitation. Nina appears at the perfect moment, and together the women turn the tables. Andrew, who spent years controlling, gaslighting, and abusing, finally meets resistance that he cannot manipulate or sweet-talk his way out of. The story edges toward a shocking conclusion. The women win, but in a way that changes everything. Andrew disappears from the narrative, his fate left deliberately ambiguous, wrapped in a morally gray silence that Millie and Nina share. The Winchester home is no longer his. The women reclaim their freedom. 9. Millie's transformation. By the end, Millie emerges transformed. She is no longer the fragile, desperate woman seeking a job to survive. She becomes a survivor who reclaimed her power in the darkest circumstances. Her bond with Nina shifts from fear to trust, from rivalry to sisterhood. Both women understand that sometimes justice does not come from the law, it comes from survival. Millie gets the second chance she fought for. She steps into a life she deserves, finally free from the shadows of her past and the threat of Andrew's control. But the final pages quietly remind the reader, the most dangerous monsters are the ones who look the most perfect. Everything Nina did to Millie was not meant to torment her, it was meant to push her away, to stop Andrew from choosing Millie as his next target. Because Andrew has a pattern, he finds vulnerable women, pretends to save them, gains their trust, then traps them inside his home under the illusion of care and love. He loves control. He loves obedience. And he loves having someone he can dominate. Millie was next. 6. Millie is trapped, and Andrew shows his true face. Once Millie understands the truth, it is too late. Andrew becomes possessive, manipulative, and increasingly threatening. He subtly warns her that leaving the job would expose her criminal record, making her homeless again. He begins locking her in her attic room at night. The lock outside suddenly makes sense. He monitors her movements and isolates her from the outside world. His calm voice makes the danger even more terrifying. Millie realizes she is trapped just like Nina once was. As Nina, who once seemed cruel, now becomes Millie's only silent ally. She tries to send warnings without Andrew noticing. Cecilia, the daughter, also tries to help in her own quiet, eerie way. Millie knows that the longer she stays, the harder it will be to escape, and Andrew is growing more obsessed each day. 7. The plan, a dangerous alliance. Nina and Millie secretly form a fragile alliance. Nina reveals that she had been living under Andrew's control for years. She was never unstable, she was trapped. All her outbursts were attempts to protect Millie and keep Andrew's attention off her. Together, the women decide they must escape, but Andrew is always watching, always calculating. Every move they make must be invisible. Millie begins playing Andrew's game, pretending to fall for his charm, pretending to trust him, pretending to admire him. She studies his weaknesses, his routines, and his blind spots. The tension becomes suffocating. Andrew, blissfully unaware, believes Millie is finally submitting to him. As Nina's behavior grows more violent and irrational, Andrew becomes warmer, almost protective of Millie. He tells her she doesn't deserve this treatment. Millie begins to believe Andrew is a good man stuck with a troubled wife. She feels sympathy for him, maybe even attraction, but the moment she feels safe, the house shifts again. 4. Millie's past comes back, and Andrew learns her secret. One night, Andrew gently confronts Millie about her past. He reveals he knows she has a criminal record. Millie panics, fearing she will lose her job. But instead of firing her, Andrew comforts her. He says everyone makes mistakes. He says she deserves forgiveness. Millie starts to trust him more. She shares parts of her painful past, but not everything. Not the darkest truth. The next day, Nina accuses Millie of trying to seduce her husband. She screams, throws things, and demands that Andrew fire her. Andrew refuses. Millie realizes the house is turning into a battleground. With her stuck in the middle, she is being pushed, pulled, lied to, and emotionally manipulated. Every time she tries to leave, something stops her, her past, her fear, or Andrew's gentle reassurances, and then it happens. Millie finds a dress of hers hidden in Andrew's closet. Suddenly, everything takes a darker shape. 5. The big reveal, identities shatter. Halfway through the story, the entire narrative flips. Secrets are exposed like a sudden burst of light in a pitch-black room. Nina is not the villain. Andrew is. Nina's erratic behavior was an act, a desperate performance used to keep Andrew from harming her, and to silently warn Millie. Andrew is revealed to be a master manipulator, a controlling husband hiding behind a mask of charm, calmness, and politeness. He mentally tortures Nina, gaslights her, controls her every move, and isolates her from the world. 2. Nina Winchester, a beautiful nightmare. Nina, who initially seems elegant and friendly, quickly reveals herself to be unpredictable, unstable, and cruel. She gives Millie contradictory instructions, accuses her of incompetence, and becomes violently upset over tiny mistakes. She appears to take pleasure in humiliating Millie. One moment, Nina is cheerful and welcoming. The next, she is screaming, emotional, and erratic. The more time Millie spends in the house, the more she sees the cracks in Nina's glamorous facade. Nina forces Millie to clean obsessively, criticizing everything, from the way she folds laundry to the way she breathes. Millie begins fearing every step she takes. Nina also complains about her daughter, Cecilia, claiming she is difficult and mentally unstable. But Millie soon realizes that Cecilia is reacting to the emotional chaos inside the home. Cecilia hints at secrets but never says enough. Meanwhile, Andrew behaves like the perfect husband, apologetic for Nina's behavior, comforting Millie whenever things escalate, and seemingly trapped in a marriage with a mentally unstable woman. His kindness feels like the only light in Millie's darkening world, but in a house like this, kindness is a weapon. 3. The locked room and shifting realities. As days pass, Millie discovers more strange things inside the Winchester home. The attic room she is assigned to has a lock on the outside, not the inside, as if it's meant to trap someone in. She also notices that Nina's accusations never align with reality. Nina makes up stories, plays the victim, and acts as though Millie is purposely sabotaging the household. The psychological tension escalates as Millie begins doubting her own sanity. She wonders, is Nina bipolar? Is Andrew secretly abusive? Is Cecilia hiding something dangerous? Why does this house feel like a trap? Millie's only certainty is that she must keep her job, no matter how terrible Nina becomes. Hook, she thought she was stepping into a job that would save her life. Instead, she walked into a house built on lies, manipulation, and a secret so dark that escaping alive would become her only mission. Summary. Frida McFadden's The Housemaid is a psychological thriller that unfolds with chilling suspense, hidden identities, and the tightening sensation that nothing inside the Winchester home is what it appears to be. The story follows Millie Calloway, a woman struggling to rebuild her life while hiding a past filled with pain, regret, and a criminal record she cannot escape. When she accepts a housekeeping job for the wealthy Winchester family, she believes it is a lifeline, a chance to start over. But once she steps inside their immaculate home, she realizes she has entered a dangerous world where control, lies, and manipulation are woven into every corner. 1. A desperate beginning. Millie is introduced as someone who has hit rock bottom. Fresh out of prison, she cannot find a job, cannot find a home, and faces rejection at every door she knocks on. Her desperation is immediate and raw. She needs stability, she needs money, and most importantly, she needs somewhere to live before her past drags her even deeper. When she interviews for the position of a live-in housemaid for Nina and Andrew Winchester, she instantly senses the opportunity is too perfect to lose. A wealthy family, a luxurious home, and the chance to have her own room, a place to sleep without fear. Despite her flaws, Millie is smart, observant, and determined. She decides that this job will be her fresh start. The family, at first glance, fits the picture of upper-class perfection. Andrew is handsome, calm, collected, and deeply polite. Nina appears glamorous, emotional, and charmingly chaotic. Cecilia, their young daughter, is quiet, unnervingly blunt, and difficult to understand. Millie feels lucky to be chosen. She should have listened to her instincts telling her something was wrong.